Let's be honest, your life isn't changing. You've been praying, believing, declaring things over yourself, speaking things into existence, and yet when you look around, nothing is actually moving. The bank account looks the same, the relationships feel the same, the opportunities haven't shown up, the breakthrough you've been waiting on still hasn't come, and you've started to wonder, quietly, maybe even shamefully, whether any of this is actually working, whether God is actually listening, whether faith is actually real. But here's what nobody is telling you, and it's the thing that changes everything once you finally hear it. The problem is not your faith. The problem is not God. The problem is not that you haven't prayed hard enough or believed long enough. The problem is something far more practical, far more uncomfortable, and far more fixable than you've been led to believe. Most people have completely misunderstood what faith actually is, and that misunderstanding is the exact reason their life stays frozen while they keep expecting movement. You've been taught, directly or indirectly, that faith is a feeling, that faith is belief held in your heart, that faith is the quiet confidence you carry while you wait for God to show up and rearrange your circumstances. So you feel it, you believe it, you wait, and then you wonder why nothing shifts. Here's the truth that cuts through all of that. Faith was never designed to be passive. Faith was never meant to be something you feel on Sunday and forget by Tuesday. The ancient definition of faith, the one that actually produces results, is not about emotion. It is not about mental agreement. Real faith is active. Real faith is demonstrated. Real faith shows up in what you do, not just in what you say you believe. And when you look at your life honestly, not the version of your life you present to others, but the real version, you have to ask yourself, what is my faith actually producing? Because if the answer is nothing, then something in your understanding needs to shift right now. Here is the reframe that will either offend you or free you, depending on how honest you're willing to be. You don't lack faith. You lack structure. You lack discipline. And you are not executing. Those are hard words, but they are the most loving thing anyone can say to you right now. Because the moment you stop blaming invisible forces and start looking at your actual daily behavior, everything becomes clear. Think about your average day. When do you wake up? What is the first thing you reach for? How many hours pass before you've done something intentional, something that actually moves you toward the life you say you're believing for? For most people, the honest answer is uncomfortable. The mornings are chaotic or non-existent. The days are reactive, not intentional. The evenings are consumed by distraction. And then they wonder why the vision isn't manifesting. Structure is not a lack of faith. Structure is faith in action. When you build a morning routine, you are saying, with your behavior, that you believe this day matters. When you set goals and actually work toward them, you are saying, with your actions, that you believe the future is worth building. When you show up consistently, even when you don't feel inspired, you are demonstrating the kind of faith that actually moves things. There's a concept that most people skip right over, and it is this. Your behavior is your real confession, not the words you speak, not the prayers you pray, not the affirmations you post on your wall. What you actually do every single day is the truest expression of what you actually believe. If you say you believe in your future but you spend 8 hours a day consuming content that has nothing to do with your goals, your behavior is confessing something different. If you say you believe God has a plan for your life, but you haven't taken a single concrete step toward that plan in the last 30 days, your behavior is confessing something different. If you say you believe in discipline but you keep making exceptions for yourself every time it gets uncomfortable, your behavior is confessing something different. This is not condemnation. This is clarity. Because once you see it, you can change it. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is almost always a behavior gap, not a belief gap. And closing that gap requires honesty, not more inspiration. Real faith shows up in how you move every single day. It shows up in the decisions you make when nobody is watching. It shows up in your habits. the small, unglamorous, repetitive actions that compound over time into something undeniable. It shows up in your consistency, especially on the days when you don't feel it, when the motivation is gone, when the results aren't visible yet, when everything in you wants to stop. That is where real faith lives. Not in the highlight moments, not in the emotional services or the mountaintop experiences, in the Tuesday morning when you get up anyway, in the Wednesday evening when you do the work anyway, in the Thursday when nothing seems to be working and you keep going anyway. This is the version of faith that actually builds something. This is the version that produces the life you've been praying for, and it is available to every single person. But it requires something most people are not willing to give, which is consistency without immediate reward. If nothing is changing in your life, then something you are doing, or not doing, is wrong. And you have to be honest about that. Not harsh, not self-destructive, but honest. Because the alternative is to keep doing the same things and expecting different results, which is a cycle that will consume years of your life if you let it. The question is not whether God can change your situation. The question is whether you are positioned for that change. Are you building the habits that support the life you're asking for? Are you making the decisions that align with the future you claim to believe in? Are you treating your time, your body, your mind, and your relationships as if they matter? As if the vision is real? If the answer is no, then the work is not spiritual. The work is behavioral. And behavioral change starts with one decision, made once, and then made again every single day until it becomes who you are. The solution is not complicated. It is simple, but it is not easy, and that distinction matters. Start by building structure into your life. Pick a wake time and honor it. Build a morning that belongs to you before the world gets its hands on your attention. Identify the 2 or 3 things that, if done consistently, would actually move your life forward, and do those things first. Stop waiting for a sign to start acting. The sign is the vision you already have. The sign is the desire that keeps coming back. The sign is the fact that you are still here, still reading, still searching, which means the capacity for change is already inside you. And then stay consistent even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it, because feelings are temporary, but habits are permanent. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline compounds. The life you are believing for is not going to be handed to you in a moment of inspiration. It is going to be built day by day, decision by decision, through the kind of faithful, structured, consistent action that most people are simply not willing to sustain. If you are serious about applying real faith to your real life and actually building something that lasts, there is something deeper being built right now. The link is in the description.